So I've got a couple of my modifications. Barbecue Central here. This stack, now this is from a bunch of guys that have fooled around with these things. I don't know anything about smoking, but there's enough videos on this, enough guys that have talked about it that I went with it. I built a big fire. I used cheap charcoal though because it's kind of like seasoning. Sprayed it with canola oil, make it as hot as you can, and you want to see how it's running at the same time. So I kind of managed the fire only for about an hour and a half. I was trying to get it really to burn hot, and I left the exhaust vent open, which most of these guys say do all the time here. And then on the intake, I left that open and eventually left the door open. So it wasn't really a good test run because I was more interested in getting it hot and to burn all this like grease residue off it than I was trying to manage temperature. I had cheap charcoal and not the right wood. But I was a little worried because I was only able to keep it up around smoking temperature, 2 1/4, for a little over an hour and a half. But that was my first one. I didn't really know what I was doing. So one thing is the stack only came up 16 inches. Now it's 28. And there are pieces of fire brick and line the inside of the firebox. That one is an extra. I'll put that up against the side. You want to keep this as hot as you can. I mean, these are cheap grills. I got this one for $250, believe it or not, because it was rusty. I mean, it's heavy duty. It does leak in some places. I've read quite a bit about this, and to me, any smoker I've ever witnessed while it was cooking something leaks. And these guys put sealers and this like kind of weather stripping, and I'm just reluctant to do that because you're not losing that much heat. And after all, I'm losing heat out the stack anyway. So what's a little leaking in the middle of the chamber? You know what I mean? So here's the fire bricks. That's all lined. It elevated, which it's supposed to help. I got it all cleaned. I took the top of that damper off. Most guys don't use them anyway. This is done by convection. The only thing that you ever see something, you don't have any experience, so you keep seeing video after video, and I'm thinking, are these guys full of shit? Well, that's where I'm at with this one last thing that I didn't do, which I could do. And if you look down here, there's a damper right down there. You see that? Some guys take that whole plate out. Now, these are made in Mexico, and for a company out of Texas, and I just can't believe that you'd be a barbecue smoker grill manufacturer and be putting that damper in there for the hell of it if it didn't work. So I've done everything but take that damper out. I could if I had to, but it just doesn't make sense to me. It deflects the heat down, and it's supposed to go along the bottom, come up, go over the meat, which should be in the central, cool down as it leaves, go up the stack and blow away. And if you can see it from this end, right here, I just have a hard time believing that someone would be in the business of making these and putting that in there when you didn't need it. That oil you see is canola oil. So that's it. I mean, this isn't rocket science. These are crude shit. The biggest problem I had was snapping this damn stovepipe together. I had to watch 2 YouTube videos on that. I just got it done. I've been dicking around with it all day. God, if anybody ever hired me to build anything, if I charged you by the hour, you couldn't afford it. It takes me forever to do all these things. So, another problem I have, I've got the good lump charcoal. There's different grades of charcoal. I didn't know that either. And the best is this lump charcoal. It's $30 a bag for a big old bag, burns slow and hot. I didn't use that, so that's one thing, okay? I got all my different kinds of smoking woods. Now, the guys that really seem to smoke a lot, they use what they call splits. They call them sticks. They're like 8 inches, and they're like the size of your forearm. And you can put those in there to maintain heat when it gets low. The kind that you buy at like Home Depot and Lowe's, they're like chunks, and I can just see those disintegrating pretty fast when the fire got hot. So I'm going to try. Believe it or not, I can't find any place around here. There's a place up north of Atlanta. That's another magnetic thermometer I have too that sells it, but it's like 110 miles one way. Also, I'm going to skip the rattlesnake get together in Wiggum, Georgia, because it conflicts with the helicopter deal, and there was a problem watching Daisy for a day. I'll go to it next year, but I am going to one in Claxton, which is next weekend. So that this time I'll go to the helicopter convention. What I'm trying to do is get helicopters landing before they set up inside the facility, which will be Thursday and Friday. So I'll get there crack of dawn and plan on just sitting on a cushion, hoping I get some good video. I might not. It's 94 miles to Atlanta. I already got my parking arranged, as you know from the last video, and I'll spend 2 days there, and then I'm going to go to the show Wednesday. You know, all the helicopters will be in there and stuff like that. I've been wanting to go to that for a long time. So I'll let you know how my barbecue stuff's turning out. Hope I didn't bore you too bad.